Hello, everybody. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Onnit. That's O-N-N-I-T. Onnit is a human optimization website, and we sell the very best of everything that we can find that helps you achieve your potential, whether it is mental, whether it's physical. We sell everything from strength and conditioning equipment to supplements that actually boost your mood. I know that sounds ridiculous, but there is actually a supplement called 5-HTP that helps your brain produce serotonin. New Mood has 5-HTP and L-tryptophan, which actually converts to 5-HTP. It's all very fascinating and interesting stuff. Even if you're never planning on taking any vitamins at all, you might want to look into it just to read about it, because it's kind of weird that there are certain foods that are rich in certain supplements that actually help your brain produce human neurotransmitters. Between that and Alpha Brain, we got your brain covered. Shroom Tech Sport is a supplement that's based on the cordyceps mushroom. And a cordyceps mushroom has been shown to help you with your endurance. It's also all this stuff that's very confusing when I describe it. You're like, what helps with your endurance? On every page, if you go to onnit.com, O-N-N-I-T, and go through all the different supplements, each one of them has a research page. And the research page has all the different tests that were done, the double-blind placebo-controlled tests on Alpha Brain. Especially one of them we did ourselves, which has already been published, but we just completed the second round of them, which is a much larger group, 60 people, very positive results, and we can't wait to talk about those in depth too. But those are done, and by the way, the tests that we did are on half of what I take. I take 4 pills with each time I do a podcast, each time I do stand-up, each time I do the UFC, I take 4. The tests we did on 2. We tried to be very conservative with it, but we showed some excellent increases in memory. And who couldn't use more memory, son? Between that and the strength and conditioning equipment, we sell kettlebells and battle ropes and steel maces. We just try to find the very best kind of equipment that we can find, that we can sell. Things like we have standard kettlebells that go from, we have all these different packages. We have a beginner kettlebell package, an advanced package, and then we have really heavy ones. Like we have 48 kilogram, which is, I think, 92 pounds or some shit like that. I don't know why we write it in kilograms. That is actually kind of annoying. How much is 48 kilograms? What does that weigh? I should probably know that. 44 kilograms. We have 44 kilogram kettlebells. We even have double 44 kilogram kettlebells if you're a fucking animal. If you're some crazy beast that wants to pick up 2 of them and fucking sling them around. Kettlebells are my favorite, personally, my favorite method of strength and conditioning. They're just fun, and it feels like modern but oddly caveman-esque to be throwing around these big, giant fucking iron balls. And these giant iron balls, the idea behind them is that the weight is at the bottom, like a bowling ball, and it has a handle. And you pick them and swing them, so it involves pulling and pushing. It involves your whole body. That's what I love about it. And it directly translates to physical activity. Like if you like to do martial arts, especially, what am I, from Texas? If you like to do martial arts, George W. Bush used to do that shit. He used to say, especially, and it drive me fucking crazy. Especially jiu-jitsu, any grappling art. There's so many exercises that directly translate to physical performance on the mat. Things like Turkish get-ups, that's a huge one, which, it's not a sexy routine like bench press or something like that. We think you're going to get a nice chest. The chicks like my chest. But as far as like your core and your overall stability and your ability to like lift things up, the way the Turkish get-up works, you lie down on the back. On your back on a mat. You extend your arm straight up like you're doing like a little bench press with a kettlebell, and then you slowly, as you rise up, it goes up over your head, and then you stand up, and then in a controlled fashion, slowly lower it down to the ground, and you lie back down again, and then do it all over again. It is very difficult, especially when you're dealing with heavy weights, and it is fantastic just for your overall body strength, because you're essentially using everything when you do that. It's not a sexy exercise. People think of sexy exercises like preacher curls. I like to do tricep extensions. Broads like my arms. Anyway, go to onnit.com because this commercial's too long. ONNIT. Use the code word Rogan and save 10% off any and all supplements. We're also brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website. Squarespace has beautiful designs for you to start with and all the style options you need to create a unique website for you or your business. Simple drag and drop interface. It is very, very easy to use. They also offer 24/7 support. Squarespace works on everything. It's really cool. They set it up so that it'll work on Windows and on a Mac and on everything. It also, each design automatically includes a unique mobile experience that matches the overall style of your website so that your content will look fucking awesome on every device every time. Squarespace even has a logo creator where you can create and design a simple logo for yourself in minutes. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase, go to squarespace.com and enter the code word Joe. That's for a free trial and 10% off your first purchase. Squarespace.com, and the code word is Joe. And we are going to announce the Squarespace contest. It's coming up very soon, but I'll give you a heads up right now. You're going to build your website and then tweet hashtag JRE Squarespace. That's hashtag JRE Squarespace. I will pick one winner each month through the end of the year. Good googly moogly. And winners will receive a free year of the Squarespace business level plan. So make a site, go to squarespace.com/Joe, or enter in the code word Joe. Squarespace.com, enter the code word Joe, get 10% off your first purchase and a free trial. And then when you're done, hashtag JRE Squarespace to get your site to be picked for our fucking awesome contest. Bitch. Say bitch while you can. It's going away. They're taking bitch away from us, Jamie. We're also brought to you by The Great Courses. And The Great Courses is a fantastic new sponsor that we have that allows you to learn some pretty cool shit from some high-level dudes and gals. I am taking a course called Stress and Your Body, and it's from Robert Sapolsky from Stanford, and it's a really interesting fucking course. I'm loving it. It's just so cool that you can order like a course like from a place like this that's, you know, by a neurology professor, an award-winning neurology professor at Stanford, and he explains all sorts of things about how stress can affect you, and not just your mind, but your body, how it affects your immune system, your sleep cycle, your memory, and your judgment. And even our pain thresholds are affected by stress. Stress is something that we just take for granted, but as a factor, as a scientific factor in the human organism, it's quite fascinating, and I'm really enjoying it. And also, he gives sort of practical tips for stress management to incorporate into your own life in this course. It's really interesting stuff. The Great Courses has been in production for over 20 years with 500 courses on many subjects, including science, history, art, music, and more. You can listen or watch the Great Courses with online downloads and streaming via their apps, or you can watch it on a DVD or a CD if you're some fucking caveman living in a hole in the wall somewhere with making fire with rocks and sticks and you still use a DVD player. Kidding. Anyway, try it, you fuckers. Order Stress and Your Body and get 80% off the original price. This is the special offer that The Great Courses has for the listeners of this podcast. So go to thegreatcourses.com/JRE. That's thegreatcourses.com/JRE, and you will get 80% off the original price. But this 80% savings is only available for a limited time, so don't sleep, you dirty fucks. All right. We are about to do a podcast with a wonderful young man. His name is Rory Albanese, and he was, at one point in time, the executive producer of The Daily Show. He's a very funny stand-up comic, and I know you're going to enjoy the fuck out of him. So please, without any further ado, welcome Rory.
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night. All day.
I miss the English broad. We got to bring her back.
You want that? This girl?
Eventually.
This one.
Me.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day,
See, that's
Joe
not
Rogan
English, though. That sounds like... Isn't there an English version of it? Where it's got more of an English... Or how high was I when I heard it?
You might have been on
This bitch just talked to me. She was very proper. The Joe Rogan Experience. Can we do that?
Sure,
We
I
get
can
a
make
real
it. I can
chick
make
to
it.
do it. Hey, Rory. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Joe. How are
Thanks
you?
for doing this, man. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
And seriously, I really appreciate you having me do it.
Dude, you have a fucking amazing story. You have a Hollywood success story.
Do I?
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Get this thing right up to your
un-Hollywood.
face so
Oh, yeah?
you can hear
Oh,
it.
yeah, that feels good.
Baby, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Can I get another one on my other
Yeah, they're
cheek?
fucking everywhere. I'm going to put them all over you.
These
tune
mics
you
are
up.
sweet,
I'm
man.
going to tune you up.
Turn that off for a second. I got to do something. No, it's not. It's very un-Hollywood in the sense that I was in New York and
Right.
working at the Daily Show, which is next to the horse stables for Central Park.
Yeah, I should say it's a great showbiz story.
I guess so. Yeah, it's
You went from being like a PA to the executive producer of The Daily Show.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, well, it was good. It was not the. I didn't know that was going to happen. I got a job. I wanted to do comedy. I wanted to do stand up, but I went to college, so I felt weird coming out of college and telling my parents I was just going to be a comedian. You know, like, yeah, remember all that money and stuff. Like, I'm just going to tell jokes. Like, I come from like. My dad's like an old school Italian guy. Like, he doesn't understand this kind of stuff. He's like, what? What about a job? You know what I mean? Like, get a job. Like, he would have
Right.
been happier if I said I was going to be like a mailman or an electrician. Like, that would have made more sense than a job in TV. So, or comedy in general. So I got the job figuring like that could at least justify the love of comedy.
That
you
sort
know?
of makes sense. Like, look, I'm working in serious business. This
Well,
is the
yeah, at
making
least-
of television shows. We're very successful over here.
Or at least I had to go somewhere. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that was a big part of it. It was like, well, what do you do in the morning when the alarm goes off? Oh, you don't have to get up in the morning because you just work at night in comedy clubs. Like, what? Like,
Yeah. Well,
I
how
don't know.
about the comics that we know that don't do anything during the day at all?
Yeah.
I mean, they just fuck off completely
I
until
know.
they get on stage.
Which I'm always quite jealous of, actually. You know, but I always had that feeling when people go, "How do you do both?" I'm like, well, you know, one's during the day, you know, so that's one way to do both. Though as I got older, I got more tired at night, and it was harder to go out and do clubs after the Daily Show.
It is, right? It's the hardest thing in the world when you're on a set. Not the hardest thing in the world. I should have never even said that.
Look, compared to anything else, it's really easy.
It's
but,
easy as fuck. But I mean, it's hard to work. What I was going to say, it's the hardest thing in the world to work a full-time job and then try to go out and pursue something because all your juice is gone.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
if anything you're trying to do, that's like athletes that have full-time jobs, like fighters that have full-time jobs. Fuck, that's hard. And that's even harder because they have hours of training they have to put in every day. But just when you're done, at the end of the day, you're done. You want to
Yeah.
get a bite to eat, watch TV, you don't want to go over
Exactly.
your notes
Nope.
and fucking...
Yeah, or for me, the other thing was, too, is I'm still not even at a place where, like, I walk into a club and they're like, oh, just get right up, Mr.
Right.
Albanese, you know? Usually they're like, why don't you clean up this mess at 1:30 a.m., you know? So for me, it was a lot of it was just, I love doing the time, but sometimes you got to hang out at the club. And then, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
my bigger problem was, because then I have fun hanging out with other comics, and afterwards I have a couple of drinks. Next thing I know, the harder problem was getting up the next morning
Yeah, you
and
have to
being
be
on
working
time.
3 hours.
Right. So that's where I started to have that, you know, well, I'm doing the thing that was good about my day job is it got me better at comedy. So I didn't really lose the like sort of experience I think I would have gotten on stage. What I didn't get by doing it every night for a while was, you know, like seasoned on stage. It took me a little longer to get like comfortable on stage.
To get back into the groove.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, it was a good experience. PA to EP was fun.
That's amazing. That's one of those stories that you're going to ruin the expectations for every fucking kid who ever becomes a PA. They're all going to think, this is it.
I have to say, at the Daily Show, because it's been on so long and John's such a cool guy and like really gave people opportunities there, I was among the first people to kind of make that journey, but now have not been the only one. The head writer there was a PA.
That's amazing.
A bunch of the EPs and co-EPs and stuff were PAs. Yeah, like people came. It's like, you know, it's like a farm system almost for good writing and producing. It's pretty cool.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's become like, for a lot of people, how they get the news.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's weird. Isn't that weird? Like
Yeah.
that's how people get the news.
I know.
Jon Stewart.
Yeah, people tell me that a lot. They say, well, I guess where I get my news. And I get it. Like, I remember being in college, we go, college kids get their news. I feel like I didn't even watch the news when I was in college. Like, I don't know, you're in college, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess it's better than nothing. But I always tell people it's a good place to start to get interested in a topic and then go off and do your own research or whatever you want. Because when people get into political debates, off of like emails and like Daily Show clips, and they're like, that's actually not true. It's like, they don't have like a real understanding of each story necessarily, So.
Yeah. It's a weird thing, isn't it? When you're doing a television show that's also an educational show and also has like a very progressive point of view, what you would think of when you think of Jon Stewart is like very intelligent, very progressive, mocking of both the left and the right when they do ridiculous shit.
Yeah.
But it's got to be funny.
Sure. I mean,
so that's a hard job.
Yeah. Well, it's really hard for him. For me, it was a lot easier because I got to watch him do it.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing about John that's amazing is he's involved from 9 a.m. through the end of the show, obviously when he hosts it. But in other words, he's so intimately involved and he's so smart and he's so sharp that like when he's in the chair, I never worried about a joke not working because even when they didn't work, he just would like call an audible in his own head and then like remember a joke from like the 9 a.m. meeting that he liked that didn't make the script and throw that in. Or it's pretty amazing to watch him too, sitting in the studio, because he'll change a joke in prompter as the prompter's scrolling, and then later there's a callback to the joke he changed, and he remembers to change the callback or skip the callback. And I'm sitting there with the script, watching the prompter, going, "Oh no!" I'm like, "Oh no! Here comes the callback! Like we're screwed!" And then he just jumps it or tags it with the joke. It's amazing. Yeah, it's really like watching.
When a guy's been doing it for that long too, I mean, he's fucking smooth. He's so used to that gig. Like for Jimmy Fallon or maybe for Seth Meyers to try a same sort of impromptu ad lib, they might pull it off.